As always, we're going to get started laying flat on our back. And once again, this will be a 30-minute class, so we will get finished at 7:15. I want us to relax into our mat, our bed, whatever we are, finding contact with underneath us, rolling the shoulders down into our mat, the floor, the bed. Allowing ourselves to analyze here how our body is feeling, taking a step further, seeing how we're emotionally feeling this morning. Maybe you are ready to start the day. Maybe you're on your way there. Maybe you still are feeling a little bit of our morning grogginess. Starting to breathe slowly. And taking that full body scan, allowing us to relax every part of our body today. And now focusing on our breathing once again, thinking of our belly like a balloon. As we inhale, this belly button will rise up towards the ceiling of the sky. And as we exhale, our belly will fall back down into the spine. We welcome it back in towards the body. And then as we inhale, once again, it rises all the way up. And taking one more breath here. Great. Let's begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes, rolling out the ankles and the wrists. And let's raise our wrists right over, or yes, raise our wrists right over the shoulders and maybe extend back farther if we have space to allow us to. Pointing the toes here, getting a big good morning stretch. We take our hands now, reaching them back up towards the ceiling. And let's press them out towards the sides. So we have them right out like a T. We can begin to walk our feet onto the mat, adjusting our lower spine. I need to see my watch to make sure I can keep an eye on the time. And here, let's start to rock gently back and forth with the knees. The hands are still out to a T or a wide V. And now allowing us to twist even more as the knees fall over to one side, picking a side, whichever side we're closest to, maybe letting them down all the way. And then our gaze is going to go in the direction opposite to that our knees are pointed in. So if our knees are to the left, we look over to the right. And we slowly come over to the other side. Slowly switching back and forth. And let's finish up one more on each side, meeting me back with our knees pointed up towards our ceiling. And once we have the knees pointed towards the ceiling, let's take our hands back down to our sides. And now bringing the knees into the chest, we give ourselves a big hug, rocking once again from side to side, but here, massaging out that sacrum. So now tracing little circles with those knees, alternating these circles one by one. And let's take one more circle. Finding just a little bit of core work today. We're going to be finding some more mobility towards the middle of our class, but working on our abdominals, we take the chin into the chest and roll up to form just a little tight ball. And then when we are ready, we relax back down. So we are going to take this a few more times. Rolling up, we exhale here. Option to let the knees fall back down as the head releases. Let's take 3 more. Thinking of those goals we have today, of our lists of productivity, things we have to do, and allowing any stress, any negative feelings we have about them to be exhaled, squeezed out of our body as we take it into this little ball. Great, and that's come all the way back down. I don't know why I bother putting my hair up for this class, it always comes down. But allowing our hands to reach up once again towards the ceiling, taking the hands together, reaching overhead just one more time. And let's bring it back down to the sides of our body. Next, taking our left leg, putting it right on the right knee for our figure 4, and we'll rock from side to side here as well. Option once again to go ahead and take a hold of the thigh and rock from side to side. Trying to keep our movement, even if it feels good, to stay in one spot. And we can switch in midair, or we can bring that foot back down to the mat and switch. Rocking from side to side. Once again, instead of holding. And now let's take both feet back down. Taking one leg out long-ish, we'll reach the opposite leg into the chest, rolling up the tops of the shoulders, and we roll up to a seated position. So first, let's take a few seated cat-cows, taking the belly button forward. We inhale, shoulders come back. We reach the chest open. And as we exhale, gliding the fingers over the knees, we press now our shoulders in front of us. We take our spine to the back of the room. And let's cycle through these. So inhale, we reach all the way forward. Exhale, reaching all the way back. And let's take one more of each. So that'll be one breath as we inhale and exhale. Let's raise our hands up towards the ceiling now, reaching nice and tall, allowing one of our hands to fall over to the side. We find that side bend here. I'm going to go ahead and lay my elbow down on the ground, but we want to make sure that our hip is still down on the mat the entire time. And let's press back up. We reach and come over to the other side, leaning over. Pressing back up. Option to stay here, or as we find that side bend, we can take our top palm and reach it back down. I teach at a assisted and independent living right now, and so I'm the wellness coordinator there. And I tend to cue by wiggling my finger. I'll just wiggle my fingers. Y'all have probably noticed it. But they'll also do that, and I feel so bad for just it's okay though, but it's very sweet, but I might need to work on not doing that. Or they enjoy it, and that's great. It'll cause them to think of that movement first. Let's come all the way back up. Right, we found that spinal flexion and extension. We found some lateral flexion and rotation. So that covers our spine pretty warmed up. We'll find some more spine work today though, because I'm obsessed with it. But let's take our knees behind us now. Hands are right underneath the shoulders. Our knees are right underneath the hips to start. And then once we are here and feel pretty good, we are going to step the knees back even more, coming into a knee plank. So we reach the hips in between the knees and the head. Taking our elbows, we bend them back behind us, all the way onto our mat. And the tops of our feet are also pressing into the mat behind us. Now here, let's reach into our favorite cobra. I'll walk us through 3 of them. So we roll up halfway. We should feel these muscles back here working. This is our baby cobra. I love it. One step further, we can put our elbows down on the mat. This one specifically, I think, is wonderful for stress relief. It puts us up in a good position to feel a stretch down the abdomen as well. And now, allowing our hands to come and press all the way up, rolling the shoulders back and down. And now lowering to our favorite one, or we can stay on that high one if we'd like. And pressing into the knees, we take it all the way back to a child's pose. Sending the hips back. Y'all are still in a child's pose. I'm just unfolding my mat. But in our child's pose, let's go ahead, walking our fingers over to the left side of the mat. And now walking them over to the right side of the mat. Good. Let's center the hands. We reach forward into our knee plank. We lower down gently onto our mat. We find our favorite cobra on an inhale. Relaxing the glute muscles a little if we're here as well, allowing your back to feel most of that stretch, that work. And then shifting back to our child's pose. And let's walk our hands over to the left. And walk our hands over to the right. So we are going to take this cycle about 3 more times. Let's meet with our hands back at the middle. We reach the palms forward, back into our knee plank, slowly coming down, finding our favorite cobra. And we can hold any of these poses as long as we'd like to. After this last one, we are going to do the next 2 in silence and building our way back to our child's pose. Walking our hands over to the left and walking our hands over to the right. Placing the hands out in front, we reach farther. And next, for these 2, feel free to follow along with my movements, but also if y'all would each like to close your eyes and just flow through these movements, making sure our breath matches the pace of what we're doing, and you are more than welcome to. And when we're done, let's get back in our child's pose. Reaching the hands back out in front. We are doing great on time. We have 10 more minutes. We do 5 more minutes of good, intense stretching. And today we're going to take just a long Savasana. After that hurricane, I want us to be able to find some rest. Flipping the toes right underneath us. We lift our hips up to the sky into our downward dog. And so here, I usually like to try to take my ears between my biceps. And then let's start to walk our dog. We bend one knee and then the other. I love these pants, by the way. They're stretchy, but yet they're light. They're from Academy in the Freely line, and I really like them. If anyone is looking for athletic professional wear, this is the best. And now, starting to bend just our left knee. We are going to walk the hands forward slightly. We take this knee into the chest, but then step it right underneath us. So when I step underneath my body, I like to come into a cat and round my back because as a larger featured woman, sometimes it's a little harder to place that leg there. But now let's take both hands on the inside of our leg. We move our leg behind us back. And now we are in our lizard pose. Option to go ahead and set that back knee down. If we have a block or a rolled up blanket or anything to elevate our hands here, that could help us quite a bit. And let's stay here for one more breath. Great job. Now flipping the back toes, we come all the way back up. Let's take our hands a little bit higher now, and we're going to walk our foot wherever, which side of the mat it's on. We are going to walk it over across the mat. We're getting ready for our pigeon pose here. So laying that shin down, and then the back foot behind us steps back. We want to make sure both hip bones are facing the same direction. In our pigeon pose, let's start with our chest lifted high. We inhale, we gather all that strength. And exhale if we would like, knowing that sometimes it's good to stay up, but knowing it's an option for us to move down towards our mat. In traditional Chinese medicine, they would talk about twists and things like that and how that could get rid of any toxins, but we could kind of think of that like stress relief nowadays too. And so a lot of people store their stress in their hips. And so pigeon is a really great pose to give us just a little bit of stress relief here. I know that some people cry a lot in pigeon pose, and so just allowing yourself to feel what needs to be felt from your body this morning. Or if you're already at work or getting prepared for work, maybe trying to do this at the end of the day instead. Um, but when we're ready, starting to press up. And now those back toes reach onto the mat once again. We can step it in just a little bit like I was doing, making sure our hands are solid and our elbows are bent, and we'll press back up to our downward dog. Let's walk out both knees, feeling a little bit of release there. And then once again, now the right knee bends only, or whichever knee we didn't do before. And we are going to walk that knee forward. Once again, curving the back up towards the ceiling so that that knee has room to go underneath your shoulders and your chest. Then, when we're ready, taking both hands to the inside of the foot, that back leg option to set it down. And we can just stay here for a little bit. Once again, this is a great place to put a block or a folded up blanket to add that elevation underneath the hands. And let's take one more breath. If we are not already there, raising the toes up behind us, losing an AirPod there, and then framing the hands above the foot. We walk the foot across the mat, laying the shin down. We lay the back leg down. So back in our pigeon pose, let's lift that chest forward. And exhale, reaching back down. Taking 3 nice and long breaths. And as we start to press up, I want us to pause here. We will not be going back to our downward dog, but wherever our bent glute is, let's put our hand on our hip where we have our knee bent. And we are going to lean over to that side, making sure the back leg is bent as well. And then we take both knees back up to the front. I love that transition. I think it's fancy. But wrapping up our class today, we are going to just take some time together, rolling all the way down back to our mat. And this is a great place if we would like to take that spinal twist and hold it on either side. Now is the time. But for the sake of my own time, I'm going to stay with my feet or my knees bent and feet down on the mat. Knowing that I am so proud of you for coming in today to this class, working on that stress relief, working on any physical goals, knowing that none of it is easy, especially with so many voices coming at us from every angle of what to do. Giving yourself this time to listen to your body, seeing what you need to do based off of what your body says, or your mind and your heart says. Knowing that no one knows this physical body like you do. Listening to those aches and pains. Listening to maybe the muscles that aren't speaking at the time. Thanking yourself for the strength that you have. Being grateful for this time that we have in the morning together. And next, let's roll one foot or one knee into the chest, tucking the chin into the chest. We roll back up. I'm going to turn the face to camera, but you do not have to. But here, let's reach our fingers up towards the ceiling. We take a big breath all together, reaching that goal. We have it between our fingers, and we bring it down to the chest. We embrace it, and we get ready to accomplish it. So I hope y'all have a great rest of your day.